Today also I wanted to mention something about yesterday. Yesterday was a special day on our calendar. It was the appearance day of Srila Vrndavan Thakur, so I'd like to say something about that as well. But maybe before we get to those items, does anyone have any pressing topic, question, or request for today? Because always, connecting with what's, the real like burning need in the hearts of the devotees, that's always something more vital and living. So if anyone has that something pressing that they'd like to hear discussed today, then please share now, and we can try to say something about that first. Oh, and now we have Purnamasi Devi Dasi joining from Mauritius. Are you there, or she's still connecting? And I don't know if she can hear yet. But Purnamasi, she hosted our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, when he visited Mauritius. So she has some very special mercy from our Gurudev. I don't know if she can hear yet. Anyhow, okay, so anything from anyone, or shall I proceed? Okay, well, I'll say something first. I'd like to say something first about Vrndavan Thakur. There are numerous accounts describing the life, the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But amongst those, our gurus, they have pointed to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Vrndavan Thakur as giving the most pure representation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What they are presenting is the pure conception, and in the line of exclusive devotion. So therefore, both Krishnadas Kaviraj, who's given Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Vrndavan Thakur, who's given Chaitanya Bhagavat, they have a very special place for us. They are the pure distributors of Sri Chaitanya Dev's pastimes in this world. If it wasn't for them, what would we know actually about Mahaprabhu? And Vrndavan Thakur, he's like about one generation before Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So he gave the Chaitanya Bhagavat first to the world. Previously it was known as the Chaitanya Mangal, of course, then later it was changed because another Chaitanya Mangal was presented or published by another Vaishnava. So it was changed to Chaitanya Bhagavat. And he didn't meet Mahaprabhu in person, but he was a direct disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. And Gurudev described him as the last disciple of Nityananda Prabhu in this world. And so he used to, and his mother, also maybe I'll mention first, his mother was Narayani Devi, who was a great Vaishnava in her own right. She, as a young girl, I believe she was, maybe Chinmoy Prabhu can confirm, but I believe she was the niece of Srivas Thakur. And so she was, as a young girl, like 5 or 6 years old, she would mingle with, Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu, the home of Srivas Thakur was the principal meeting place. When Mahaprabhu was playing out his kirtan pastimes in Navadvip, then it was the home of Srivas Thakur, which was like the heart of his kirtan lila. It was like where he would have his most intimate meetings and most intimate kirtan. So it was like the hub, it was an exclusive hub for Mahaprabhu and his close devotees and associates. So Narayani Devi, as a young girl, she got to mingle in this kind of atmosphere with all of these exalted Vaishnavas and Mahaprabhu himself. And there's one story that there was one occasion when it was when the Chand Kazi, this Muslim ruler of Navadvip, he was threatening the devotees, and he made this proclamation that they couldn't do any kirtan. And there were all of these threats that were being made to the devotees. And so the devotees, the group of devotees there, they were in some anxiety about this, and they came to represent this Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, he told them, you don't worry about that, And as we know later, Mahaprabhu, he led this very grand procession, a very powerful kirtan procession to the residence of Chand Kazi. That was how Mahaprabhu responded to the order, not to do kirtan. He led this like huge, like hundreds or thousands of people in kirtan. He led them to the doorstep of the Chand Kazi. So this was like his his retaliation, you could say. But before that happened, when the devotees first brought this to Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu, he told them, why, this is nothing to worry about. And then to demonstrate something of his potency, then he was chewing this pan. They liked to chew in India, this pan. And we don't chew pan. It's mild intoxicant. We don't take that. The Vaishnavas don't take that, but the Lord take that. So Mahaprabhu was chewing this pan, and he took it out of his mouth and he gave it to this little girl at the time, Narayani Devi. And as soon as she started to chew that, she put that in her mouth, and then she began to experience all of these symptoms of divine love, becoming stunned and perspiration, tears of ecstasy, hair standing on end, all of these divine symptoms. And so all the devotees, they were astonished and also very, very encouraged, that why are we worried? No, this is our Lord, Mahaprabhu. He's taking care of us. What type of power does he have? So Narayani Devi, she she had this special mercy from Mahaprabhu. And then later, she gave birth to Vrndavan Thakur. And she moved to the Mamgachi area, one of the 9 islands of Navadvip. We go there during the 4th day of it's the last stop, actually. It's the last stop of the last day of the Navadvip Dham Parikrama that we have during the Gaur Purnima time. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he actually established a very beautiful temple there. So Narayani Devi later moved there, and we don't hear about her husband. Probably he wasn't a Vaishnava. There's no mention of him. But she gave birth to Vrndavan Thakur, who became known as this very great Vaishnava. And so Vrndavan Thakur, he ended up taking initiation from Nityananda Prabhu. After Mahaprabhu left the world, then Nityananda, he stayed behind for some period. So Vrndavan Thakur took shelter from him, and he used to travel with Nityananda Prabhu. And there's a very funny story, how Nityananda Prabhu, so Vrndavan Thakur, he was like a personal servant to Nityananda Prabhu and would assist him with all of his needs. And Nityananda Prabhu, he liked this haritaki. It's like this sour fruit, and it has digestive properties. You'll see in India, they make some digestive aids from this haritaki. So Nityananda Prabhu, he liked to chew this dried haritaki after he ate. After a meal, he would chew this to help digestion. So Nityananda's traveling, and he wouldn't, the standard of a sannyasi in those days was very strict. Sannyasis would live very strict lives. They wouldn't stay in one place. They were always on the move. They wouldn't they wouldn't keep any store of anything. What they, you know, they would only keep what they could carry, some small bag of very bare necessities. That was how they lived, and that was the expectation of society. So Nityananda, he didn't keep anything with him, but you know, like if he was visiting someone's house and they served him a meal, then he might ask them, oh, do you have some haritaki? And if they had, then he would take. If they didn't have, he wouldn't take, you know, like that. And so on one occasion, Vrndavan Thakur, he thought, oh, maybe I'll keep some extra haritaki with me. You know, they were at somebody's house and they had this haritaki. So Vrindavan Das thought, I'll keep some of this that's extra, I'll keep it. So the next time Nityananda wants, if they don't have, then I can supply, you know. And so so this happened, you know, Vrindavan Das kept this extra with him, and then they were later another day at someone else's house, they didn't have any. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he presented to Nityananda, oh, I have this haritaki here, I kept some, I stored some, I saved some for you. And then Nityananda, he became very angry with him. and he told him, you have the mentality of a grihasta. You know, this is not a brahmachari mentality. You know, brahmachari cannot keep anything, cannot keep any store. No, you cannot travel with me anymore. So you stay here, you stay here. So, you know, and this sounds very harsh, but actually this was part of the Leela. And as a result of that, Vrindavan Thakur, he stayed in this small village of, it's called Denor, right? Which is actually right next to our Gurudev's birthplace, Bamampara. Whenever we would go to visit Bamampara, we would stop there, right next door. So as a result of Nityananda Prabhu dismissing him like this, then Vrindavan Thakur, he settled in Denor, and there he had the inspiration to write the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, you know, as a result of the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu and also the mercy and inspiration of his mother, then he came to write Chaitanya Bhagavat. And many nice things. You know, our Gurudev, he wrote a very beautiful pranam mantra, glorifying both Vrindavan Das Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and you know, very, you know, like this is something that is very fresh, like this verse that has come from Gurudev, you know, because in this verse, Gurudev is presenting this idea that we can conceive of both Vrindavan Das Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj as both simultaneously being the Vyas of Chaitanya Leela. You know, Vyas, it is like a post. It literally, it means something like, you know, one who distributes a particular knowledge. So, you know, like Veda Vyas, Krishna, his name is Krishna Dvaipayan, Veda Vyas, who spread the knowledge of the Vedas. And so then Chaitanya Dev, his Leela also has a Vyas. But so Gurudev made this interesting point that, you know, Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are two aspects to his Leela. You know, there are two aspects to his divine nature. You know, there is his internal aspect as the combined form of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. You know, and, you know, Krishna appearing with the heart and halo, the mood of Srimati Radharani, you know, Krishna desiring to experience the mood of separation and the sweetness within him, the joy that only she can experience. You know? So, you know, this is a finer understanding. This is the inner nature of Mahaprabhu. And then there is the other aspect of Mahaprabhu, who is coming as the Yuga avatar to save the conditioned souls of this world. You know, who's coming to spread the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan and to you know, spread Krishna Nama, Krishna Kirtan, Krishna Prema, and thereby to uplift the souls of this world. So there, you know, like there's his public duty, and then there is you know, his inner, as Gurudev said, his private tasting matter, you know, his, what his personal intentions were, you know. And so Gurudev very wonderfully expressed how we can conceive that because Mahaprabhu, he's coming with this, you know, this dual nature, then therefore we can conceive that there are two Vyasas to Chaitanya Leela. You know, one who is describing more this public aspect, and the other who is describing this inner, more esoteric nature of Mahaprabhu. And so Vrndavan Thakur, he is describing more the Yuga avatar aspect of Mahaprabhu, you know, coming to distribute Harinam Sankirtan. And then Kaviraj Goswami is going into, you know, deeper, more refined, more esoteric understanding of who Mahaprabhu is. But what is very beautiful is that, and it's such a beautiful example for all of us, is that you see in Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's this wonderful reciprocation, this wonderful Vaishnava exchange that's taking place, even though they didn't meet in person, and even though Vrndavan Thakur is one generation earlier, you know, nevertheless, there's this wonderful Vaishnava exchange taking place, because Vrndavan Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he expresses, I am not the Vyas of Chaitanya Leela. Now, I'm presenting something here, but I am not the real Vyas of Chaitanya Leela. And he says the Vyas will come in the future. You know, the real Vyas of Chaitanya Dev, he will come in the future. So he's foretelling, you know, the appearance of Krishna's Kaviraj and his presentation of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then also throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj repeatedly throughout the text, beginning, middle, and end, he's referring back and deferring always to Vrndavan Thakur and saying, you know, he'll say things like, I'm just chewing the remnants of what Vrndavan Thakur gave. I am not the Vyas of Chaitanya Leela, you know. Vrndavan Thakur, you know, he is given the, you know, the principal and foremost text about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, I'm just chewing on his remnants. And then also you'll see he's very, very careful if you know, if Vrndavan Thakur has already described a particular pastime, then Krishna's Kaviraj is just giving some very short synopsis. And then in other cases, if Vrndavan Das has not said very much about a particular pastime or aspect of Mahaprabhu's Leela, then Krishna's Kaviraj is elaborating upon it. So it's a very beautiful example for us, you know, the sensitivity and the respect, that consideration that the higher Vaishnavas have. You know? I was reflecting today, you know, how our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, he gave so much energy in emphasizing these teachings of Trinada Pisunichena, you know, Choriva Sahishtuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, humility, tolerant, one who is more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, who can give honor to others without expecting it for themselves. You know, such a person is qualified to take the holy name. You know, our Gurudev, he gave so much energy, so much energy. I was thinking of one, there's one comment of Srila Sridhar Maharaj where he says how Saraswati Thakur, he gave so many gallons of blood to show what Krishna consciousness is not, you know, some comment like that. And I was thinking similarly, our Gurudev, he gave that kind of energy, that kind of focus on the importance of following these teachings, you know. and it is sad when we and it's like it sounds so basic actually, but then you realize who can actually follow. Like, we need to be reminded constantly. We really need to be reminded. And I was reflecting, of how sad it will be if we are forgetting this. Our Gurudev's only been gone 11 years. Let us not forget what he gave so much energy to try to tell us. There was one talk in particular that he gave, which I'm reminded of right now. And maybe Chinmoy Prabhu was there when Gurudev gave that talk. But he was saying how, we've seen in this world, there have been many great missions, like Napoleon Bonaparte, Alexander the Great, they had these the British Empire, these great missions spanning, countries and continents, this these global empires, and what happened to them in the end? They dwindled down to nothing, and Gurudev also mentioned some the missions of some great acharjas in India in the past, how grand they were, and now there's a few followers. And so then Gurudev said, if the foundation of a mission is not humility, tolerance, and respect, then it will not be able to last for very long. But if we can make these teachings our foundation, he said, then our mission can remain strong for many, many years into the future, and can continue to spread the mercy of Mahaprabhu, for many years. So, we constantly, as Gurudev himself said, we constantly need to be reminded of the importance of these teachings for our individual spiritual welfare and progress, and also collectively. We may not feel so motivated to practice it for ourselves, but at least let us try to think of the greater good, the greater whole, and think how I'm behaving, how I'm engaging, reciprocating with others. It's not only concerning me, but it is concerning many others. So we have to think of that and try to remember our Gurudev and his desire for us. So, the examples of these great Vaishnavas is very inspiring, very encouraging, to see what type of very profound sensitivity and consideration they have for the respect and for the feelings of others. In this world, the nature of the ego is, this word pratishta, the literal meaning is something like to establish, So, this is the nature of the mundane ego, to assert, to establish oneself, to be an aggressor upon the environment. The voice of our own ego is very loud and very big. And therefore, we're not able to hear, not able to see the needs and the wants and the positions of others. But when our own, the voice of our own, the noise of our own ego is less, then naturally we are more sensitive. We are more sensitive to others. We're like in the present moment, our ego causes us to always see ourselves in the center. It's something we just take for granted. It's something so insidiously implanted in our mundane consciousness. But those with spiritual consciousness, they're always seeing Krishna in the center. They're always seeing the other Vaishnavas in the center. They're always considering others. They're not thinking of themselves in that central way. When they're considering something, it's not on the basis of their own desires or needs, but always in consideration of the desires and needs of others, beginning with the Lord and the Vaishnavas. I remember Devi Prabhu, he mentioned once how somebody asked Srila Sridhar Maharaj at one time, how can we please you? And he said, Devi Prabhu said, at first, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj heard that, he was like a little surprised, like, me? Like he wasn't thinking like, I'm a big charja, I'm a very great guru. Of course you want to know how you can make me happy. I will tell you how you can please me. He was a little taken aback, like, why would you be interested in making me happy? Why me? So it's always very inspiring to remember these beautiful examples. And Gurudev, there was one time with Gurudev when in London he received some kind of an abusive phone call. Actually, Madhusudha Maharaj, she was reminding me of this the other day, and Gurudev received this abusive phone call from someone, and Gurudev just sat there, listening. And then finally it ended, and Gurudev hung up. And then afterwards, somebody, I think it was Goswami Maharaj, was getting upset and said, "No, Gurudev, next time let me take that call, and I'll handle that call." And then what did Gurudev say? He said, "Why is Krishna allowing me to hear these things? Why is Krishna allowing me to hear this? Normally when we experience this kind of abuse, and there's this self-righteousness, right, that rises up in us, like, who do you think you are? And do you know who I am? How dare you talk to me like that? And so on and so forth. We'll have our list of reasons, why we're upset. But Gurudev, so humble, why is Krishna allowing me to hear these things? So, how there's no limit, to the degree that we can put these teachings into practice. And really, we have to see that these things, we cannot become bewildered by the objective environment. It's not actually about what he said or she said, or this happened or that happened. This is all like a cloud, actually. What's actually happening is we're receiving a personal examination of how well we can still apply spiritual teachings, how well we can still practice humility, tolerance, and respect, how well we can still adhere to the ideals of our gurus. That's actually what's happening, in a substantial sense. And all this other stuff, it is just a cover. It's an examination. It's a test. It's an opportunity for us. There was one letter I saw of Srila Saraswati Thakur, one of his disciples serving in one temple. He wrote this letter complaining about some situation in the temple. And Saraswati Thakur told him, he replied, and he told him, when Krishna has given you an opportunity to practice tolerance, why don't you take that opportunity? He's given you a very nice opportunity. You should take that opportunity. There's also there's one list that Srila Saraswati Thakur printed, that it's called Rules of the Mat. It's like maybe 10 or 15, maybe 20 different points on that list. We printed it out in Navadvip. Maybe some of you would have seen, we had it in front of the bookstore. But one of the points on that list that he included was the foremost duty of a member of the mat is to practice tolerance. The foremost duty is to practice tolerance. It's if you're going to survive in some kind of a community, some type of, collective atmosphere, then this is the fundamental necessity. This is the prerequisite. You have to be able to practice tolerance. And Gurudev also mentioned that tolerance, it's both the most difficult and also the most important. And he said it's the most difficult because you can fake the other things. You can pretend to be humble, you can pretend to be respectful, but you can't pretend to be tolerant. You're tolerant or you're not tolerant. It'll just come out if you can't tolerate. You can't help yourself. So it's very difficult because you can't fake tolerance. And then he said that he also said it's the most important one, because he said the other qualities, they will come through tolerance, and that's something I've reflected upon. And what I realized is that, if we're able to check our immediate reaction to something, then that gives us some pause to reflect upon ourselves. And if we really reflect upon ourselves deeply enough, then we cannot help but be humble. If we have some deeper realization of our own nature, our own lacking, our own faults, then we cannot but be humble. And then also in that moment of pause, it allows us to try to appreciate others more, to consider their situation more, why they are behaving like that, and to try to see them in some optimistic mood. Then some respect will come, some appreciation will come out of that. So that tolerance, to be able to check our immediate reactions, that is the first thing that is necessary. Anyway, we always have to remind ourselves of these teachings. Okay, let me see. So Chinmoy Prabhu also had some very nice questions here. I have it here.
First, though, does anybody else like to ask something or make a comment?
I see Ajay Prabhu is also here from London. Dandavat Prabhu, happy to have you with us. And we also have two devotees from Mauritius here joining for the first time. Purnamasi Didi from Mauritius. Very happy to have you. We're honored, Didi, to have you with us. And also Suyash Krishna Prabhu, also joining us for the first time. Dandavat Prabhu, welcome.
That one, Didi, I'm not know everyone.
Suyash Prabhu, he's very brilliant devotee. He's made an app to help with these the Ekadashi calculations. So he's doing very nice service for the devotees. And Govindandini is also here now. Dandavat Govindandini, tuning in from Campos do Jordão. She's on Mahaprabhu's lands in Brazil. She's one of Mahaprabhu's servitors. Part of his personal entourage. That deity of Mahaprabhu, he was personally put there by our Gurudev. Oh, here, Suyash Prabhu, he's put a link here if anyone wants to check it out. There's a link here in the chat to this app that he's developed. That deity of Mahaprabhu, Gurudev personally, established that deity there. And I seem to remember Trivikram Maharaj telling me that Gurudev actually personally performed an arati for that deity. I don't know if you can confirm that.
I don't remember actually about this.
Okay, but
This
anyhow, Gurudev, had like a personal relationship with that deity of Mahaprabhu, and he was very concerned for his, that he would be cared for. And Trivikram Maharaj, he takes that very seriously, that responsibility to Gurudev personally gave him that responsibility, and he, it's like something that Trivikram Maharaj will, he's like, he'll, until the day that he leaves this world, like in his heart, that's like his number one service, to to fulfill that desire of Gurudev. Okay, and Jayadev was also here. Dandavat, Dandavat, Jayadev. Are you on the same land with Chintamani now?
Yeah, I'm right down the hill.
Okay.
Did you get introduced to our friend? I came in. Did you get introduced to our friend over there too?
I did. Yeah.
Dasi. Oh, yeah,
yes,
he's a
that's
dear
right.
friend. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, you're always bringing such nice seekers and devotees. Also,
We're very, very lucky to have so many wonderful people in our lives. Of course, Chintamani is the one that always seems to connect all the souls. So, I'm just in her wake.
Okay. Okay. So should we go then move on? I have these questions here. What does it mean? There's a few points here. Firstly, what does it mean when we say we should see Guru as non-different from Krishna? And okay, well, first we can say there's this famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna himself, he states, Acharyamam Vijaniyam. Varun's suggesting a group trip to Mauritius. I'm down for that. But there's actually a street, isn't there a street that's been named after our Mat in Mauritius? Can you confirm that? Purnamasi Didi or Suyash Prabhu, can you confirm that? Yeah.
Actually, yes. There is there's a temple near Purnamasi Didi. So it's the Navadip Dham Lane.
No, it's called Navadip Dham Lane.
Yes.
Very nice. I also heard Gurudev mention how there's a mountain there, and Gurudev named it Guru Maharaj Mountain because he said it reminded him of Guru Maharaj. Mauritius is a very, very pious country, very blessed country.
Gurudev used to say that Mauritius reminds him of Vrndavan.
Your line is not so strong, but you said Gurudev used to say it reminds.
Here he finds mangoes are falling down. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So Gurudev was saying like Mauritius reminds him of Vrndavan. He used to say that in Mauritius we find mangoes are falling and people are not eating because they are so engaged in Krishna Seva.
Gurudev said that.
Yes, he said that. And I remember reading that article. Well, Gurudev always sees Vrindavan everywhere anyway, so I wouldn't really think like that. But yeah, he loved Mauritius a lot.
I don't think any of us would think like that. But this is Gurudev's Paramahamsa vision. Wow, that is so beautiful. They're so busy in Krishna's seva, they're not eating the mangoes. Wow, amazing. Amazing. Wow, my God. Wow, I'm going to remember that. That is so profound. That is so profound. Jai. You were there when Gurudev visited it was 2008, right?
Yes, fortunately I got initiation from Srila Gurudev in that year itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. And Purnamasi, you were there when Gurudev first came to Mauritius, right? Which year was that? I don't know if she knows actually how I think it might be the first time she's joining a Zoom call. I don't know if she knows how to put on her mic. Okay, well, never mind.
Dandvat Vishakha Didi.
Dandavat Ramananda Prabhu. Very happy to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, got a little late.
Oh, happy you could still make it. Okay, so so in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this famous verse everyone knows, Acharya Mam Vijaniyam, Acharya Mam Vijaniyat, where Krishna is saying, the Navamanyeta Karhichit, where he's saying, you should know the Acharya to be myself. Don't see the Acharya in a material way. Don't see the Acharya with material vision. I am the Acharya, I am the Guru. And then this question here is, what does this actually mean? What does it mean when we say we should see Guru as non-different from Krishna? Non-different does not mean same. So then we have to remember always Mahaprabhu's conception of Achintya Bheda Bhed, of simultaneous oneness and difference. So in the sense that Krishna's divine will and Krishna's divine potency is there acting through that Acharya, through that Guru, then in that sense, there is this oneness. What is the will of Guru is non-different from the will of Krishna. What is the potency coming through Guru is non-different from the potency of Krishna. So in that sense, there is this oneness. But then there is also difference because that Guru has his own individual nature as a Vaishnava, and so also with Guru, there are these two moods that will come, like you will hear this expression Guru Abhiman, when the Guru has this ego, this spiritual ego to instruct others, actually the Guru in their Vaishnava, in their normal Vaishnava temperament, they will not go to tell anyone to do anything, But when that inspiration comes from above, then they're acting with this particular ego of a Guru. There was something I wanted to say just now and it just slipped my mind. Oh yeah. There's one very nice expression of Srila Saraswati Thakur where he says, he says, expressing something along these lines, like I am a very low person, I am not in a position to tell anyone anything, but when I go to instruct, when I go to chastise somebody, that is my pralap, which means something like a kind of madness. So, the Vaishnava in their normal temperament, they go not, as I said, they won't go to chastise or instruct, but that is an inspiration that is descending. Oh man, that point just came in, now it came out. Oh, very annoying. What was I going to say? It just went. What was it? Anyhow, I think I've expressed the main idea there. I can't remember.
You were talking about Acharya Mam Vijani Ham.
Yeah, yes, I know, but there was a point in my head which I didn't say. which I can't remember. It was some example, but anyway, maybe it will come later. But yeah, so oh yes, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. In this song, Samsaradava, right? Then and this is probably like the most quoted and crucial verse in this song. Everybody knows, we're singing in the mornings, Samsaradava. What's the verse about
Kintu Prabhu Priya.
yes, exactly, yes, thank you, Ramananda. Yes,
You're welcome.
Shakshadaditvena samasta shastra uktastata bhavyate vashadvi kintu praborya priya eva tasya vande guru shri charanaravind. So this very crucial verse here saying, this is glorification of Guru. So this verse is saying, all the shastras, they declare that you are Shakshadhari, means you are non-different from the Lord. You are the Lord himself. And then kintu means but, kintu praborya, priya means beloved, priya evatasya. However, simultaneously, you are the most beloved to the Lord. So this is actually a finer understanding of Guru, like the more broad and general vision of Guru is they're non-different from Krishna. And then when we come in closer to that glow, then we begin to appreciate a particular Vaishnava who is very beloved, who is most beloved to the Lord. So there are both of these aspects to the Guru. Just keeps locking. Is that clear, Chinmoy Prabhu?
Yes, Didi, thank you.
Okay. And then the next point, should I see someone else's Guru as non-different from Krishna? This is wonderful. I love this. And this, this is something that could cause a lot of chaos. Should I see someone else's Guru as non-different? No, it is not like that, And actually, I'm really glad you raised this point. I think it's something important to clear up, because actually, okay. Before we go to that, then we should first say, there are different classes of Guru, In this is something Srila Sridhar Maharaj discusses in Sri Guru and His Grace. And so he says the highest type of Guru, they are firmly situated in the spiritual plane, and they're extending one foot down, they're extending to this world, and they are helping the souls of this world to come up. This is the highest class Guru. And then he said the middle class Guru, they are situated in this world, but they have one foot in the higher world. And then he said the lowest class Guru, they have both feet situated firmly in this world, but their vision is fixed firmly upon the higher world. They are still struggling with their own anarthas, their own internal impurities, but they are fixed on the ideal, and they are moving to that ideal, and they are capable to help others, because although they're not fully perfect themselves, they are fixed in that aspiration and in that, in that mode of life. And so they're qualified to help others. So this is one thing to remember. So then Guru, this is something that is it is something individual. It is different in the case of the highest type of Guru. It is different, because they are fully perfect. They are fully self-realized. They are what we can refer to as a Jagat Guru. They are actually the Guru of all souls of this world, whether they're aware of it or not. That type of Guru is different. That type of Guru, everyone who has enough Sukriti, they will be able to feel the potency of that guru. So that is different. But then so then otherwise the inspiration, you know, that special guru connection, that is something individual, because it depends on Krishna's will. You know, guru is a function of Krishna. Guru is a function of Krishna connecting with the souls of this world. You know, it is a function of the absolute, you know, is a function of the perfect trying to help the imperfect, is one nice way Srila Sridhar Maharaj has said it. You know, so that guru, it is like a via media for Krishna to connect with conditioned souls of this world. And that is something that it can be very individual, because Krishna may choose to reveal himself to a particular person through a particular agent, and it won't be the same for everyone. No. And in that sense, it doesn't matter whether, you know, like there's one, like Gurudev had some joke, maybe it was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's joke, about like, it's not like big guru, big mantra, small guru, small mantra. Like, it's not like that, you know, like if that function of guru is coming through somebody to a particular soul, you know, that's coming from Krishna. And even if that agent is not fully perfect, what's coming through them is perfect, and what they are giving is perfect. That's Krishna himself revealing himself to a particular soul. But then he may reveal himself to another person through another agent. You know? So it's a very individual thing. You know? So then you know, then you have an environment where there are, you know, there's a community of persons, community of practitioners who are all getting the inspiration, you know, for guru with different agents, you know, and each one may feel, oh, my guru is non-different from Krishna. So this could be a recipe for disaster. And you know, this is where the teachings of Trinada Pi Sunichena are so crucial, you know, humility, tolerance, and respect, you know, where you know, everybody has to honor the faith and the inspiration that others have, you know, because, you know, this is the problem when and this is something we experience, you know, when, you know, I have faith that my guru is non-different from Krishna, but my friend here doesn't have faith that my guru is non-different from Krishna. And then I become angry. Why don't you see that my guru is non-different from Krishna? You know, you should see that, you know, this is like a literal problem that we face, right? At present within our mission, you know? So this is where the teachings of humility, tolerance, and respect are so crucial, because we have to honor the faith of others, and we can't impose our faith on others, because there's an individual transaction taking place. You know, individually, there are different transactions that are taking place. And what each person is feeling, we won't say, oh, that's false. No, you know, someone may be having a real experience, a real revelation of divinity. If I meet that agent, I may see them as a conditioned soul, but somebody else is seeing guru in them, and that's real. So we have to honor that faith. You know, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he also speaks about the inspired side of a Vaishnava. You know, so if there's an inspired side, there's also an uninspired side. You know? So somebody may be connecting only with the inspired side of a Vaishnava, and they're receiving that guru inspiration, guru connection with them. But then we may not have that, you know, and we don't have to either. It's not, and that's not what Krishna is revealing to us. Krishna is revealing himself through that person to another person, not to us. So it's okay, you know, that we're not having that particular vision. And then what was the other thing I was going to say?
Vishakha Didi, can I say something?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Gurudev mentioned many times, even Param Guru Maharaj, wait and see, because of that, yeah, emotion or devotion, see, because some devotees are so emotional, so they cannot see.
Yes. So, oh yeah, then the other thing I wanted to mention, thank you, Prabhu. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is how, you know, a guru, you know, like a more primary class or middle class guru, they also have their very human side. And so, you know, their disciples will see them in one way, and then their god brothers and god sisters will see them in another way. And that's okay. However, there has to be an atmosphere of respect and caution, because we don't want to disturb the faith of others. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj, gives in Sri Guru in his grace, he gives the very nice example of what's Chinmoy, but you remember exactly how you know, I mean, essentially the point he makes is, you know, like in public, the god brothers, they should honor the guru, but in private, they may slap them. You know, in private, their god brothers and sisters may actually be in a position of superiority, and they may correct the person acting as guru. You know, to act as a guru, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're better than others. You know, there's a particular qualification that is needed to act as guru, which is not necessarily, and particularly as an acharya, which is not necessarily spiritual. You know, for example, you need to be able to represent in a clear way, in a proper way, but that's not necessarily an expression of devotion. It may be, but may not be. So the quiet devotee who's washing the pots, you know, and may not be able to give a lecture and quote many verses, they can devotionally be more qualified than the person acting as guru. So, you know, acting as a guru or a acharya doesn't necessarily mean that you are superior to other Vaishnavas. So therefore, the Vaishnava acting as guru may be subject to correction by other Vaishnavas behind the scenes. But publicly, you know, that won't be something that is shown. And why? To honor and encourage the faith of the disciples of that guru. So, you know, I was trying to remember the example of the judge. Do you remember that, Chinmoy? He gives the example of a judge in court. How like everyone will honor him in that setting. But outside of that, you know, he may be chastised, you know, so something like that. But anyway, that's the main idea. Then we have another point here. What about gurus that fall down? Were they non-different from Krishna and then became different? That's brilliant. Yeah, my guru used to be non-different from Krishna and he's not anymore. Is there a certain type of guru that is being referred to here? Yeah, well, I think that brings us back to the fact that, you know, there are these three classes of guru. And so the lower class guru, because they're not fully realized yet, they haven't attained a state of full purification or perfection, then there's still some risk, you know, that they can be led astray by their material tendencies again. You know, that risk is always there. So, you know, that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he also speaks in Sri Guru in his grace about how the guru is, you know, the position of guru, there are so many temptations that are surrounding it, you know, because when one is in that position, then then, you know, so much honor is coming to them, so much attention is coming to them, so much, you know, all of these three main challenges, right? Kanak, Kamini, and Pratishta. You know, wealth, sensual enjoyments, and fame. These are described sometimes as the three principal material obstacles we face. So someone in the position of guru, all of these things are coming to them more, you know, and then so there's this temptation there, and you know, they can fall prey to those things. They can be led astray. You know, it can be a very dangerous position to have, because, you know, if those things come to you and you don't use them in service, but you take them for your own enjoyment, then you're worse off. You're much worse off than you were before. You know, that's sacred energy that's coming to you. And if you use it for yourself, then you're in a very bad position. You know? So then, you know, if these selfish interests start to creep in, then one's spiritual vitality will diminish, and one can be led more and more astray. So yeah, it is true. You know, if the guru is proceeding with you know, pure intentions and always acting in the interest of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava, then that inspiration coming from above, that potency coming from the Lord, that will continue to flow through them. But if their material tendencies start to get the upper hand, then that divine potency, it will withdraw. You know, it can withdraw. It can be extended and it can be taken away. There's one place where Srila Sridhar Maharaj says the Vaikuntha Sampad means wealth. So the wealth of Vaikuntha, the wealth of the spiritual plane, he said, it is very flickering. You know, so it may be if someone is manifesting as a pure instrument, then that grace will be attracted and will flow through that person, flow through that agent. But if they begin to use that for a material purpose, and if their material tendencies start to take hold of them, then it can also withdraw, you know. So yes, we have to be very careful, you know. And until you get to the point of no return, then there are many risks, you know. There's many points of deviation and many risks. So there's a very beautiful quote of Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Sri Guru and His Grace, where he says, a sincere, indomitable desire for the upper aspirations of Krishna consciousness is necessary in an acharya. Very beautiful expression. A sincere, indomitable, am I saying that? Indomitable desire for the upper aspirations of Krishna consciousness. You know, that is required. That is required in all of us, actually, but especially for someone who's acting in that position of such responsibility, you know, because there are so many distractions, and, you know, especially if you're involved, if a guru is involved in a mission, then it's very easy to get sidetracked by the material aspects of that mission, you know, by the material functioning of that mission, by the resources that are connected. You know, it's, you know, like, you know, in the mission style that was established by Saraswati Thakur, you know, the guru is not sitting in a cave with nothing, you know, like the way the 6 Goswamis lived. The 6 Goswamis, they you know, they're living under a tree, drinking a cup of buttermilk every day, wearing loincloths, you know. That was the style at the time. That was expected by the society. But in this present environment, it's very different, you know. So someone who's trying to preach to others, they're expected to deal with the world, you know, and to deal with for the purpose of a preaching mission, we have to deal with resources. We have to deal with people and power and position. So if we're not able to deal with these with full purity of heart, then we'll be in trouble. So it is so important to keep that purity of heart, to keep that purity of intention when dealing with these things. That I'm just the agent, I am just the instrument, I'm dealing with all of these things on behalf of Guru and Gauranga. It is not my property. It is not my property. The conception is not my property, because there can be, when this is the funny thing, like when that inspiration comes from above, then this magic is coming out, then there's this ego that could come. Oh wow, look at me, I'm so bright, I'm so brilliant, what's coming through me, this is astonishing. So then one can start to think, oh, this is mine. This is mine. And then as soon as you start to think like that, then you're in trouble. I liked very much how Vaishnava Maharaj, Shuddha Prabhu, he would always say that, and I appreciate it so much. He always had this caution. He would repeatedly say, like, this is, like when he's representing the teachings or the mood or the feelings of our gurus, he would emphasize, this isn't my property. Like this idea, this conception, it's not mine. Like this is in the heart of my guru. This is living in the heart of my guru. It is theirs. It belongs to my gurus. And I'm just some agent in the middle trying to represent that, So, but yeah, it's very difficult because it's very easy to, I had a nice talk with Varun yesterday, actually. We were talking about how, in spiritual institutions, there's this mentality that can come out, like we have a monopoly on this, I'll read, there's this, and this is actually something we were just mentioning, Shuddha. This is let me find it. Shuddha Prabhu, and he published this Vaishnava Toshini. And there's this very beautiful introduction there. And he mentions this point, this magazine, this is the introduction, or it was published in the foreword of every edition. And this is an excerpt. Our purpose in publishing Sri Vaishnava Toshini is to fulfill the order of our Gurudevs. And since we have been brought to the shore, actually, let me put this in the chat as well. Since we have been, wait, let me see. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, here it is. Our purpose in publishing Sri Vaishnava Toshini is to fulfill the order of our Gurudevs. And since we have been brought to the shore of the ocean of nectar by their mercy to try to distribute a drop of that nectar, we do not claim to have a monopoly on the truth. Because this is the kind of mood that can start to develop. Nor are we the sole agents for its dispensation. We are only trying to purify ourselves by some absorption in higher subjects, and thus we endeavor in this way. So, it's a very kind of, it's an idea that can like sneak up on us in this very insidious way, like I brought this person, I'm the one who connected this person to Krishna consciousness. I'm the one who first started preaching in this area or this country or whatever. I'm the one who started the program here. I'm the one who knows the teachings the best, and therefore you should all listen to me. Like in a subtle way, this idea, like we're the controllers of this, we're monopolizing this. It's in a very subtle way it can be present within our consciousness. So we have to always keep that mood, like I'm just an agent, and it's for my own benefit, for my own purification, that I may, try to extend that to others. Yeah, and the more that we can have that mood, the more wealth will come to us, the more that we have this ego that it's about us, then the more we're actually blocking that divine current. Krishna consciousness is a current, and that ego of self-assertion, it is repulsive to that current. So yeah, yeah, anyhow, don't have to harp on about that. So Varun saying, should we always assume we are beginners who know nothing? On one level, yes. And that's not in a kind of pessimistic mood, but it's like, what Isaac Newton said. I feel like Isaac Newton, he's celebrated so much as this brilliant scientist, but he said, I am standing on the shore of the ocean of knowledge, collecting some pebbles, So he has this very humble mood. Why? Because he's getting some view, getting some hints of how expansive and how great, the ocean of truth actually is. So, the more that we're moving towards that truth, the more we'll realize how infinite and how wonderful it is, how never ending it is. So, we may, Srila Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, they have expressed that, we should make some type of progress report within ourselves. We may look within ourselves and say, okay, I've come this far, I'm going in the right direction. We may look behind our shoulders and say, okay, I've crossed through this, I've crossed through that. But as we're moving like that, then we will, if we're moving like that in a genuine way, then we'll also be seeing in front of us that, that shore is extending further and further. The expansiveness, the infinite nature of what we're approaching will become more and more evident. So we may say, okay, I can see I've been through level 1. I'm not going to say I haven't gone anywhere, but I'm also seeing there's a million more levels, or a billion or a trillion more in front of me, So, it's not a pessimistic, it's not a dark or depressing feeling, that, oh, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not getting anywhere. It's not like that, but there's a joy that's also connected with that. Like if you're standing in front of a great mountain, you're happily feeling very small, It's a wonderful thing. You're standing in front of this great beauty, this great majestic expression of beauty, and you're happily feeling your insignificance in front of that. So, but yes, a healthy practitioner will feel always that they're a beginner. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said that when he first joined, he heard of how one of Saraswati Thakur's more famous disciples, he was always referred to as Professor Sanyal, but he did have an initiated name as well, Sudhakar, Bhakti Sudhakar something. But anyway, we always refer to him as Professor Sanyal. And he was, very pure-hearted follower of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And so there was one occasion when somebody asked him, when will we become free of our anarthas? Anarthas means our internal impurities or obstacles that we face in devotion. Our selfishness, our material attachments, all of these things, there are anarthas, non-truths within us, one way you could say it. So somebody asked Professor Sanyal, and Professor Sanyal, so they asked him, when will we become free of these things? And Professor Sanyal replied, never. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he heard that at that time in the beginning when he joined, and he was puzzled because he thought, well, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, he describes the different stages of devotion. And we see there that there are some stages beyond anartha nivritti. Anartanivritti means the stage when one is purified of all of their anartas, impurities. So, there's this outline there, ado shraddha, first faith, tato sadhu sangha, association with the sadhus, tato bhajana kriya, our service life, our practicing life, anartanivritti, then full purification. Then there's nishta, to become fully fixed in devotion. Then ruchi, some real divine taste and attraction, like that. Then there are so many higher and higher developments, upon that pure platform. There are more and more developments of divine love. I didn't say that very well, but anyway. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he considered, well, in that outline, Srila Rupa Goswami, he described some stages beyond anartanivritti. So how can Professor Sinyal say that one will never become free of anartas? That never makes sense. That doesn't make sense. And then later on, some time later, maybe some years later, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he understood him, that what he meant was that the real devotee, they never feel that they are free of anartas. They never feel that they're now perfect. They always feel there's some deficiency, there's some need for further purification, for further progress. And again, that's not about low self-esteem. This is something else. This is about coming into closer and closer contact with purity. The more you're in contact with real purity, the more you correspondingly will feel that you're impure. The more you will feel, I have so far to go. So yes, a healthy and authentic practitioner, they will always feel like that. They will always see, I have so much further ahead of me to go. Mahaprabhu himself, he's expressing himself like that, Na prema gandosti dirapi meharo kandami sabhagya ram prakashitam vamsi vilasinana lokanambina vibarmayat prana patanga kanrita, where he's saying, I don't even have a sense of Krishna prema. I don't have the fragrance of Krishna prema. So, that is his feeling. So, so how should we feel? Okay, well, I think I'm going to stop there for today. Does anyone want to add anything? Oh, actually, Chintamani, you have something to share, right? You want to mention? Where's Chintamani? Has she gone? Oh, she's there.
Dandavad, GD. Oh, sorry. I'm figuring my universe out over here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Dandavad, all devotees. We have a pop-up, informal, not very well organized, very family-based book reading that we're doing with Didi on Thursday mornings at 11 o'clock Pacific time. If you're interested, let me know and I'll get you in. Thank you so much, Didi. Didi, please share anything you like.
No, that's everything.
Wait, with Vishakha, Thursday, 11 a.m., 11 p.m.?
Yeah.
11 a.m. your time, yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So yeah,
everyone invited. I'll leave my WhatsApp number in the chat. So just message me. And sorry, this is really pop up and really inspired. Anyway, thank you so much, Judy, for being available to read with us and help us increase our taste for reading. We newcomers over here.
Well, we're all newcomers. But yeah, we're thinking to start with Loving Search for the Lost Servant. And then we're gonna segue. Actually, Chintamani had the inspiration to do a course for newcomers. So we want to launch that on Rath Yatra Day, right? I think we're going to launch that. It'll be a 12-week course, something like that. But in the run up to that, we're going to go through Loving Search. And then after that is finished, we'll go back to Loving Search. So yeah, everyone is welcome if they want to join. Oh, and thank you, Chinmoy Prabhu. You found that quote. Even if you think that the person performing the function of a charge is lower in qualification, adhikar, than you, still you should formally give some special honor to him because he is in that position. The son may be the judge and the father may be the lawyer, but the father must give respect to the son. He must give respect to the chair. So that kind of adjustment should be kept in the mission. When you are alone, the Acharya brother and his non-Acharya brother can mix freely. You can give a slap to his face. But when publicly amongst his disciples, you must show that sort of behavior. Respectful conduct should be publicly maintained to keep up the peace of the mission. Very nice. Thank you very much. Okay.
And then I'll just add this because it didn't let me copy the whole thing, but this one, Srila Sridhar Maharaj is one of his main topics is always that.
Oh, sorry. I spaced out. I was looking at the comments here.
Yeah, it's in the comment. Yeah, because it won't let me copy the whole paragraph. So but this is a comment before what he wrote before, which is always one of Srila Guru Maharaj's main points.
Right,
relative
right.
and absolute consideration.
Right. That's a very nice point. Yes. That's a theme in Srila Sridhar Maharaj's talks. We always have to consider these two things. Yeah. Sorry, did somebody say something? No.
I would just ask, so this is a quotation.
That's from Sri Guru and His Grace, right,
Okay.
Prabhu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Sri Guru and His Grace, such an important book, so important. And we first read that book, many years ago with Gurudev. And of course, it was very nice to read. But then after Gurudev left, then we began to realize actually how practical that book is, how applicable that book is. So we're very fortunate to have that. Very helpful. Right? Everybody, that's a book we all need to read again and again, especially at the present time. Whether it's because we're dealing with our own feeling of separation from Shri Guru, or whether it's because we're trying to understand how to harmonize with different visions and different disciples and the mission, all the answers are there. So it's such an important book, and we're so we have to mention our indebtedness to Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj for giving us that book. It's so valuable for us. Okay, well, should we stop there for today?
Didi, you always are making everything very clear. Oh, Kunti's saying no, we shouldn't stop.
Kunti, she had very special mercy from our Gurudev. And actually that name Kunti, I don't think he gave to anybody else. Very special name. Is there, Chinmoy Prabhu, can you think of another Kunti?
Yeah, there's one in Brazil.
But named by Gurudev?
Yes, I think so, Govinda Nandini.
Okay.
No, she's Goswami Maharaj's disciple.
Oh, okay.
Kunti, Brazilian Kunti.
Yeah. I think there's only one Kunti that Gurudev
One
gave.
Kunti in Mexico also.
Yeah, there's also one in Australia, but I don't know if that name came from Gurudev. I don't know if that name. Anyhow, Kunti has a very sweet mood. She met our devotees in California, and she spent a long time in India. We were roommates actually for a long time. And I remember you looked after Tulasi with much heartfelt care, Navajit. And she was very much appreciated by all the devotees there. Very sweet heart. Very sweet heart. Okay, well, our Dandavat pranams to everyone, and wishing you all the best for the week ahead, and hope we can. Oh yeah, so next week we're back to Monday, right? Today was a one-off Tuesday special, but next week we'll be back to Monday.
Jai.
Okay. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Chinmoy Prabhu ki Jai. Govinda Nandini ki Jai.
No.
See you all very soon.
Jai Vishakha Devi Dasi ki.
Dandavad Didi, thank you.